Welcome back. I'm JD Colley, and this is the Newcomer's Guide to Starsector Part 2. Alright, so we're going to be salvaging all these ships as per our station commander's request. Some of these... so ships do not necessarily become salvageable when they're derelict like this. Some of them will be, some of them won't. We're going to go talk to this little wolf here, turn off our sustain burn so we can actually steer and explore. Oh, good. We can recover this wolf, and we will do so. Now, an important thing to do in this part, go in here, press F, and mothball your ships. It'll just save you a lot of resources right now because you're just not going to have the crew. She told me to go get a whole bunch of crew. I didn't do it because I just don't see the need. I'll probably salvage more ships than I can afford people for it at the moment, and so I'd rather just grab the ships right now and mothball them, bring them back, and then repair them at the station. So a kite, not salvageable. If you notice, I didn't do anything there. That was not different like screen or anything in terms of what I did. That was just the game. It wasn't salvageable. The hammerhead is excellent. And what is it sporting? Oh darn. Sometimes that ship spawns with what are they called? Railguns, which is wonderful. I keep pressing the wrong button. See, crew under strength. That's what happens when you have more ships to crew than you have crew. Like we need 95 people minimum to skeleton crew all our ships, and we only have 80 right now. So just mothball it, move on. Oh, come on, Lasher, you want to be salvaged, don't you? No, you don't. Okay. Take and move on. Buffalo. I'm glad that's not salvageable. A dram, those are useful. We'll take that. Please don't have degraded engines. He does. That's sad. Oh well. We'll recover him for now. We'll probably get rid of him later, but that's okay. A carrier. Now, I'm pretty sure that these are scripted. The condor, the hammerhead, the wolf, and the dram are always salvageable. Put those, mothball them, and then, the Tarsus is not, and then the kite is, I think? Yes, okay. You know what, we're going to keep the kite. I don't usually keep kites. I don't like them, but we will today. Alright, so fly back to Ansira. And we've got some character points from all that salvaging. I'm just going to crank up my technology skill so that I can add more points to the skills I've already invested points in. There are a limited number of points. You cannot max out all 4 trees. You can max out about 3 of them with 50 skill points, depending on which ones you choose to max out. Alright, so we need crew. Actually, it says we don't need very many crew right now at all. It's not true because we have all these ships. We have a wolf. Okay. Probably in that order, actually. That's probably the order we'll use them in combat. This is probably never going to be flown again as a combat ship, I'll be honest. It's not great for it. It's a decent freighter. It's okay for combat, but it's really not great. Crew under strength. Alright. So we now need 211 crew. We can do that. We have a ship with fighter bays, so we're going to need a bit more crew than we actually have people, because your fighters are actually crewed. When they die, you lose crewmen. Makes sense because people are getting killed in combat. Alright, so now we have the stuff to crew those ships, but they don't have any guns on them. So we want to press R for refit. What can we stick on here? Oh, that's not great. So there's actually very little available. Oh, that's right. Pardon me, I forgot an important step. We need to go talk to the commander first. We did the job. We grabbed your stuff. Alright, so we've got pirate ships, basically. Speaking of weapons, alright, she gives us weapons and tells us to go kill them. Well, to stabilize the jump point out of this sector, but first we need to kill the pirates surrounding it, most likely. That's the reason we haven't been able to leave Galatia, is because Galatia you can't get out of it right now. The warp point is not working. So anyway, so if we go over to storage, you can see all the weapons she gave us. She gave us some decent stuff, not terrible. Okay, kind of terrible, but not super terrible. Some good missiles. We'll take that into our inventory. We can use all of this on the refit screen without having it in our inventory. See, it says from storage and in cargo holds. So, and then from black market, open market. So it tells you where things are coming from, which is important to know. And we're going to put arbalest autocannons on there. I'm going to put light autocannons there. With that, he's probably good. Let's see. So we'll just slap a few capacitors and vents on him. We still got a pretty sizable amount of stuff. 4 or 3. Let's see. Maxed out, that is 450. 460. Okay, so slightly better if you only spend a few points on it. Okay, anyway, he's fitted out. We need to do his weapon groups. I just press auto most of the time and then go slap the missiles in slot 1 and have them alternating. There we go, and everything on auto fire except for the missiles for me usually does the trick. That's my personal preference. You don't have to do the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to keep harpoons on there. I'm going to give this guy sabots. He has a heavy blaster and a small energy turret. We're going to put a attack laser in there. Ooh, we only have 1 point defense laser. That's not great. And nobody else has one I can steal, I don't think. That's a shame. This little guy I'm not expecting much out of. They generally die very quickly. This guy, however, broadswords all the way. Broadswords are great. Well, okay, they're not great, but they're fun. What shall we put on this guy? In general, you want your cruiser or your carriers to stay out of combat. So we're just going to put some stuff on him that allows him to stand off away from fights. Here we go. And then you can get a reinforced bulkheads. Might be a good idea on this guy, but I'd rather improve his combat capacity. He's going to have 1 extra point. I'd rather have a pulse laser on him than a heavy blaster. Heavy blaster is a very powerful weapon, but it generates a tremendous amount of flux, 720 per shot. Whereas this cuts the flux up into slightly smaller, more manageable bites, so he's not as likely to just flux himself out with a single shot and die. Run through weapon groups real quick. This doesn't really matter. The AI will use them intelligently whether you set the weapon groups up or not, usually, as long as they're enabled. So don't sweat it. Mostly it's for if you switch to the ship, you want to have something you can use. And then you, all I care about with you is reinforced bulkheads. In fact, I'll even put in stable injectors on you. Basically, the ship is not going to fight ever. If he's ever in combat, I screwed up. His only job is to run away. And maybe to tote guns around if I feel like it, but really his job is to get away. The only time he'll ever show up in combat is if I'm fleeing from someone, so he just needs to be fast. Alright, so our fleet is ready, sort of. Oh, she restored all of the combat readiness when we went through that dialogue thing. That's an important thing to do. Cool. Alright, so we don't need any repairs. We normally would. If you brought in a bunch of ships you just salvaged, you'd need to repair them, and it would cost you a lot of supplies. Like, as in, like, maybe 120 of our supplies had we repaired that fleet. Maybe more. It's really expensive. Salvaging ships is not a winning proposition when it comes to finances. You're not going to make money by salvaging damaged ships most of the time. So I don't recommend you try and do that. Because if you go here to sell, this ship's worth 5,000 credits. To buy a ship like it would cost 35,000 credits. Your ships are worth nothing once you own them. They don't like buying used, apparently, but they're fine with selling used. Anyway, we will quick save because we're going into combat, and that's a good thing to do. unless you're playing Iron Man. We'll head for the warp point. Now there's 2 pirate fleets out here. We prefer not to fight them at the same time. I think we could probably take them. Oh, there's only one. They're usually pretty close together. This one chose not to be. His maximum burn speed, you can see there in the bottom right of this tooltip, is burn 9. Our maximum burn right now is 8. We cannot escape from him at normal burn speeds unless we are using emergency burn or sustained burn. And if he was sustained burning at us, we still wouldn't be able to get away unless we emergency burn. So yeah, speed is important, and he's faster than us right now because he's emergency burning. All right. This is a fairly nasty fleet with a Sunder and a Venture. But these other 2 are basically scrap. So okay, move in to engage. We are not going to we are going to transfer command because I didn't shift my guy over to the Hammerhead. Okay, continue. We're going to do a full combat deploy. These are all storage ships. And we are going to assign this little kite to escort our carrier. Actually, no, we'll have him escort the Wolf. Here you go. It's good to pair your ships up, otherwise they tend to run off on their own and do silly things like die, which is not ideal. Alright, I need you attacking that Sunder, because the Sunder is a very nasty ship. It's a pirate Sunder, which makes it weaker than your average ship of that kind, but it is still a very unpleasant thing to fight. Alright, the Venture came in first. The problem with the Venture is it's basically a flying brick. Like, even if we flux it out, we're not going to be able to kill it. Right now. I'd rather wait until it's alone. So we're just gonna fly on over here, support our fighters a little bit by shooting up these mining pods. They won't do us any harm anyway. Oh, the Sunder's dead. Awesome, the Wolf killed it. That simplifies things considerably. No, don't do that. Alright, we're gonna see... Actually, no, this time. If they're going to just fly around, we're going to go this way. Just a moment. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so we're just going to kill this little guy. This Venture is really interested in us. I was going to assign the Wolf to kill him and you to kill him as well. The Cerberus over there and the Shepherd are essentially non-issues. They just don't have the firepower to do much to us since we have shields. We'll just kill all those little drones and go help our Wolf out because he's not going to pay any attention to us until the Cerberus is dead. Which it now is. Okay, never mind. Alright guys, come on back. So, this is an unsupported carrier now, which is excellent, but it is a cruiser. And should not be underestimated because it does have mining blasters, which do a lot of damage. Alright, so there you see our Wolf is reporting lowered combat readiness. If you look at it here, its combat readiness just declined a little bit. It's still fine, it'll do great, but it will continue to decline throughout the battle, so we want to wrap this up as fast as possible. I'm going to activate my ability, which is an improved ammo feeder, which means I'll shoot much faster for a brief period of time. It's a really excellent ability. It's what makes the Hammerhead such a powerful ship. If you have good guns, which I don't, but it still improves it even when you have a crappy one like I do. And you can use it a lot. Additionally, the ability itself uses no flux. You don't spend flux to do this. It just increases the amount of shots you're shooting out, which makes you have more flux because of your increased firing speed, but that's the only downside. I probably should have vented while he wasn't looking at me. So if you lower your shields, you vent faster without having to actually press the V button. I recommend you do that at every opportunity, as long as it's safe. I'm going to vent right here because he's not looking at me. I'm going to see if I can catch this little shepherd. He's starting to annoy me. And he knows I'm coming for him. There we go. Oh, he is a speedy little guy. Let's see if we can get a missile. Nope. I was going to try and get it past the black screen of the venture, but that did not work. So at this point, this is just going to be a battle of attrition as we slowly wear down the armor of the venture. We've already won. He can't beat us now. We have more firepower than he has flux capacity, so we are going to win this fight. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take us to do it. Our wolf is now in danger of malfunctions from lowered combat readiness. He should probably leave. Now, my biggest problem right now is I don't actually have any weapons designed to destroy armor or hull. My weapons are all kinetic, which do lots of damage to shields, but don't actually kill anything. Well, they do. I mean, they will kill stuff if you fire enough of them, but much more slowly than a high explosive weapon would do. We'll just face hug him for a minute. Maybe convince this shepherd to go somewhere else. There we go. Now my combat readiness is decreasing because we've been in this fight long enough. However, the venture is almost dead, so one more cycle of venting and face hugging will probably kill him. Oh, I thought he was out of missiles. Wow. I was mistaken. You need to leave too. You're going to start exploding. That wasn't a full vent, but he isn't going to survive. So, press escape, claim victory, and there we go. We'll take it all. We earned that loot. And onward we go. Now, if we look at our fleet, many of them, despite the fact we took no damage in that fight, we now have reduced combat readiness on almost all of our combat ships. So we really probably should not take another fight if we have the option. So we're going to stabilize this jump point. If you heard that little ping sound, that was the sound of you detecting something on your radar. That would be fleet number 2. He probably doesn't want to tangle with us. I believe that's the smaller of the two fleets. One has the Venture and the other one is much weaker. Yeah, that ship, that fleet is minuscule compared to us. But I don't really want to spend like 10 minutes chasing around shepherds, so we're going to head back, turn in our information, inform the commander that we have stabilized the jump point, and we can now leave Galatia. We're going to need at least 70 units of fuel. Now, if we press E, we can see where we need to go. That she wants us to go to Corvus. just right click on Jangala. That will set the waypoint, which that's the great thing about the right click functionality in the menu or the maps is that it can set waypoints in other systems and it will guide you in your system to the correct or closest waypoint or jump point through hyperspace to the best jump point in that system and then through that system. So it's very convenient if you want to go somewhere that you don't know exactly how to get to. Now if we open the map by pressing tab and then go to sector, you can press Q, we'll see exactly how much fuel we need. You click fuel range and these orange circles give you that information. The inner one tells you how far you can go and come back from, and the outer one says how far you can go one-way trip. So clearly Corvus is well within our range. We have far more fuel than we need. It tells us we need 19 fuel to get there. It's slightly more than that, I think, because of, I'm not sure if it takes the cost of jumping out of system into account. It probably does though, but it's unlikely we'll go in a completely straight line on the way to Corvus. And I will show you why in a moment. So we order the jump, cost 12 fuel. And these clouds are why it may not be a direct line. By themselves, they do no damage, but when they're white, or not white, but kind of brighter purple, that lighter purple color, they will damage your ships if you fly through them. So you want to avoid those at pretty much all costs. They can become very expensive if you fly through them, and they'll throw you tremendously off course. You'll just fly really far, and it's horrible. Anyway, we resume our course, and it will take us to the Jangala jump point. Ooh, there's friends out here. Who is that? Oh, that's a smuggler. Okay, so that was nobody super hostile, which is fortunate for us. And somebody else was jumping out, but it doesn't look like we've made any untimely friends. Anyway, we come to Jangala, which is a major hub for the hegemony, one of the factions in the game. We can repair our ships, which does the same thing as just flying around. It just does it instantly. Same cost, I believe, as doing it in space. It's just the speed factor. So we can trade goods, sell off that metal we got from fighting, look at our little fleet, and then open the common directory, talk to Scott Elysium. All right, Galatia's back on the map. What do I do now? Well, right now, this is the end of the tutorial. You have now completed it. We are now able to go and do whatever we want. You know, go down to the bar, talk to people, maybe grab a commission to, or a contract to take food to a Ludic church planet. By the way, declining does not take away the quest. You can take it later if you want. You can hire some mercenary officers. You could turn rogue and start attacking hegemony patrols and become a pirate. You could bomb Jangala if you wanted. There's a whole bunch of things for you to do now. You can go out and explore the sector. Maybe in another video we'll discuss exploration and what is entailed in that. You can go found your own colony. You can take a commission with a faction, the hegemony or one of their competitors, and become a officer of the line with them, fighting for them as if you belong to their fleets, getting paid by them too, and being able to buy their ships. You can level up more, become a more powerful captain. Basically, the sector is now your oyster. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments. I will read and respond to them, and have a great day.